guys, I'm Candy Lamb and welcome back to Candy's Locker Room. After a bye week, the Dallas Cowboys fell to the Green Bay Packers in overtime, 38-21. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how the Cowboys can improve and how they can beat the Minnesota Vikings next week. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers has a lot left in the tank still after leading the Green Bay Packers to a victory over the Dallas Cowboys with 3 touchdown passes to Christian Watson and also leading them to a 55-yard, essentially getting them in field goal range in overtime to get that attempt and win the game over the Dallas Cowboys. This was all after Watson had recently fallen under scrutiny for drop passes in previous games and even this current game against the Dallas Cowboys. But nonetheless, the Green Bay Packers made all of that up, and certainly Christian Watson, as he had a 3-touchdown game. This left for a lot of scrutiny for the Dallas Cowboys. The most obvious things and the biggest things were the mistakes on offense this game. We can't have interceptions in a game like this, especially those 2 interceptions that we did have. We have to clean up that route running, and our wide receivers have to be intentional about their route running. I know mistakes happen all the time in football, but these were the most obvious and most costly mistakes in this game. I'm not going to point fingers like everyone else has done at Dak or CD or Schultz even. It's just that we have to play clean football. On that first interception, CD was obviously supposed to run in front of the safety, or at least Dak was expecting him to. He didn't. And in the end zone on that second interception, Schultz was supposed to block that safety, move him out of the way, and he did not. There was a bit of a mix-up, but obviously from the beginning of that play, it just was not a pretty setup. It was not clean. They collided into each other, Schultz and CD, and that made an easy target for the opponents. They got that interception, and that just does not help the Dallas Cowboys in this game. On the contrary to popular belief, I don't think that means that CD lacks any skill set there or Dak. I think that those are small, minor mistakes, yes, that we shouldn't have, but can be cleaned up and can be changed, hopefully for games to come. Especially on that first interception. I'm not making excuses here. I just think it's an easy fix. Things happen. Go back to practice, look at it, look at the film, and come back better next time. And if that play reoccurs again, flatten the route, get in front of your safety, and get that ball. You have to go and get it. And obviously, there's a miscommunication between the receivers, the quarterback, the tight end. It just was obvious in this game. Some of the receivers were looking away. Some of them were running the wrong routes. That is all communication, which I know everyone likes to see the bad thing, but I'll see, the light here at the end of the tunnel. It seems that because it's communication, that's something that can be worked on. The skill set is there, the tools are there, but we have to get that communication down on offense if we want to win ball games. Next, the play calling. We threw the ball 46 times when we should have run the ball. When those 2 interceptions happened, especially that first one early on in the game, that should have been an indication that we can't do that on this team. We can't do that against this team. We need to stick to what we know, and we need to run the ball. That's what has been working for us, and that's what is obviously going to work in this game. At least we have to give it a chance. The Cowboys didn't do that. The Packers safeties looked like they had our playbook and was running our wide receiver routes with them. To me, when you see that as a coach in the game, you change things up. You don't let your guys sit out there and keep getting beat out for the ball. You either change the playbook and run different routes or have your receivers run different routes, or you run the ball, which would be a great idea because that's what the Dallas Cowboys have been good at this season, to be honest. And when you see the safeties, covering our receivers route as often as they did in this Green Bay game and the Tampa game, then maybe it's time to go back to that playbook and say, hey, these teams are really studying us. These teams have our playbook. We need to come up with a backup plan. And that backup plan is our run game. Our run game is not golden, but it's good. It gets the job done. let's stick to that until we can figure out our pass game that isn't working out so well. Sure, Zeke was out, but we have Pollard, who has the speed. Malik Davis looked great. He had 36 yards. He looked really good to say that he was a rookie and he hadn't gotten that much play time. I was impressed. So I definitely think that we should have used our running backs, our run game in this game more. We can't blow 14-point leads and think that we're going to make it to the Super Bowl. We just can't have that happen. We have to recognize the mistakes early, work on them, clean them up in practice, in film study, and then come out and play a different type of ball game than they played on Sunday. The penalties, oh my gosh, that seems to be our theme song. Yes, the refs, still aren't giving us the play calls that we want, but the Cowboys themselves, they have to cut down on those little bitty mistakes. Those yards add up, especially in a game as close as this one. So to reiterate and put it plainly, we need to be able to stop the run on defense. This game highlighted that. We saw the warnings and the flags in the other games, but this put it on front and center display for the league to see that we're having trouble stopping the run, and we need to do something about that ASAP, or other teams are going to take advantage of that, and they're going to run the ball to our weak spot, which is obviously right now we're having problems at a linebacker. Anthony Barr, I know, was out. Van Der Esch isn't our greatest asset there. So what do you think teams are going to do? They're going to attack our weak spot, and that weak spot has just been exposed even more in this game. And we need help in the backfield. As much as I sing the praises of Anthony Brown, it's just not happening back there. I don't know if the Vikings noticed it in film study. They had to, but that's one of our biggest weak points back there, and they worked it. Watson with 3 touchdowns back there, that means he beat us in the backfield 3 times. Other teams are going to see that. They have been trying that, but what you didn't see was them throwing that ball to Trevon Diggs' side. So we're going to have to do a better job at forcing the quarterback to throw it to that side of the field, to throw it and get rid of it. We're going to really have to attack with our pass rush and force those turnovers, force those bad throws, force those sacks. We are really going to have to step it up there. This wasn't the best game for our defense, obviously, either, but I think that if the Cowboys work on those few things, cleaning up those penalties, cleaning up that route running, working on communication heavily this week in practice, then hopefully we'll come out with a fighting chance next week. Now, speaking of next week, we face off against the Minnesota Vikings. And of course, you guys know, when I say we, I'm talking about us, me, the Dallas Cowboys. No, I just am so passionate about my team. I speak in that tense. So, Dallas Cowboys face off against the Minnesota Vikings next week. And this is what it should look like. At a time where the media is heavily criticizing our quarterback, Dak, and praising viral Kirk O'Chains, as they call him, Kirk Cousins, this should be an interesting game, an interesting matchup between these two teams. Cousins' favorite wide receiver to go to, favorite target to go to last week was Jefferson. But will Jefferson be available if we put Diggs on him? Are they going to take the advice of the Packers and not throw to Diggs' side of the field? But would that mean not throwing it to Jefferson? They have Adam Thielen. And again, we couldn't hold Watson last game for 3 touchdowns. So that's something the Cowboys are really going to have to worry about and stress in this game is coverage in the backfield, stopping those wide receivers and shut down the backfield. Better yet, this is a time for our defense to step back up into their number 1 spot and shut down Kirk Cousins. Especially our beautiful pass rush. I want them to have a field day on Kirk Cousins like the Bills did and force those sacks, force those fumbles, force those interceptions, force those sacks. Everything that we can do to stop that ball, stop them from scoring. I want it all. Vikings running back Delvin Cook is a problem and has been a problem. We are blatantly and quite frankly speaking, we're going to have to stop the run. And this is going to be a game where the offensive line for the Cowboys have to step up. The Vikings pressure rating last game was scary, i.e. protect the quarterback. If we don't want those bad throws to happen, if we don't want Dak throwing it out of bounds because he's under pressure, protect your quarterback. Give Dak the time and the option to get rid of the ball first. Out to one of the wide receivers, out to the running backs. Please get back to that run game and minimize those risks on your quarterback. If we do these things, then I can see the Dallas Cowboys defeating the Vikings on Sunday. But it's not going to be an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think my Dallas Cowboys will come back on top this next game. Well, you guys didn't think I would let you go without Candy's Hot Shot of the Week, did you? Well, my first Hot Shot of the Week is Dak Prescott. He came dressed and ready to play, but the Green Bay Packers had other plans, but at least he looked nice. Dak Prescott showed up in black pants, a black button-up dress shirt, and this nice blazer coat. It was black, gray, and plaid with a gray and black matching men's fedora, and his suitcase kind of went with it. I think it was different colors. Actually, I'm looking at the picture now. I'm not sure if his suit was gray or black. His blazer was gray or black, but I loved it. It was weather appropriate. It was game day appropriate. The only thing that was missing was a victory for my Cowboys, but we'll get that next week. Very good job on this outfit, Dak Prescott. My next Hot Shot of the Week is Tyler Smith. Mainly because of the pop of color in this outfit. He had on white shoes, gray pants, white button-up shirt, nice piece of bling accenting it underneath. But what really accented this outfit was his coat, his men's winter coat. It's a blush pink, and it gave it a really nice pop of color. But you guys know what else would have been a really nice pop of color? Our score highlighted as the winning score on that playboard, on that scoreboard at the end of the Green Bay Packers game. But I'm going to let that go. We're going to have a better game against the Vikings next week. With that being said, let's get into some of these questions that you guys had for me on Instagram. The first one is from Chaz Reese. Chaz Reese asks, what are we going to do about the Cowboys' run defense? Well, I hope that they do something very soon. It was very obvious, as I said, in this game that we hadn't stepped up to the plate when it came to that area in our play. So I hope that we get some more help out there on the field. I don't know if we need to bring someone else aboard, but that's what it's looking like. You know, LV, as I mentioned, isn't that dependable on the field when it comes to that. Anthony Barr, he's out. Don't know for how long, but we need some help there. And we can't keep trying to stretch Micah Parsons thin and say he had a bad game, he didn't do this or that. We need help other than moving Micah Parsons all across the field. Yes, you know, we have other players that are contributing, but it's not enough. It's not enough to stop that run, and it was all too obvious in this game. So hopefully we get some more pieces on the board to stop the run so that we can make it to the playoffs. And, you know, I always say to the Super Bowl. The last question is from Trillo Legacy. He says, who are you looking to step up on offense and defense against the Minnesota Vikings? Well, I'll start with the offense. I want all of our offense to step up, the whole offense, because our defense has been leading for too long. Our defense has been, you know, our bread and butter. Sorry about the background noise. I really think that they all need to step up. Not saying that they're doing bad, but they're not playing at the level that I know they can play at. CeeDee Lamb, I'd love to see him step up and show people more of what he can do. The last game, I know that wasn't his greatest game, but we also look at these games and we take away from what the players did. He had some great plays in the game against against the Green Bay Packers. Now, unfortunately, in this day and age, when players mess up in the game or there's bad plays, that overshadows their good that's done. But I still am looking forward to CD to step up and show everybody that he is that number one wide receiver that the Cowboys have. You don't get that number 88 for anything. You don't get it because they think that you can do the job. You get it because they know you can do the job. And I can't wait for him to prove everybody wrong on that. Dak, I would love for him to, show up as well against the Vikings. I think that Dak is highly capable, but again, the naysayers, the media, Dak looks terrible, but just when he came back and we had a great game, it was the other way around. So you can't pick and choose which days are and say, oh, he's a bad quarterback. He's not the Dallas Cowboys' greatest quarterback. But then he comes off of an injury, slinging the ball and throwing touchdowns, making these great plays, and, oh, he's a top quarterback. Make up your mind. So I would love to see Dak and CD really just come up as that dynamic duo and prove everybody wrong on Sunday. As far as the defense, I'm ready for Micah Parsons to step back into the limelight. I think looking at the last game and the last couple of games, he looks a bit frustrated to me. And I know it's not all to do with him not getting his usual amount of sacks. He's probably been stretched a little bit thin on the team right now, but I want him to step back into all of his glory. And I think that's when Micah Parsons is his best, when he's feeling confident, when he's making those great plays, when he's been put in the position to where he can make those great plays. That's who I want to see shine on defense against the Vikings. And also Trevon Diggs, it's time for him to start snatching some balls out of the air again. It's time for some more interceptions from our Trevon Diggs. And last but not least, I want them to stop the run on the outside. That's it. I'm done. Drops mic. I'm going to leave you guys with that. If you have any comments, questions, and I really would love to know your thoughts on these couple of things that the Cowboys need to brush up on in my comments below. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.